but if I'm making it up, I'm coming up with verbs and adjectives and terms that are close enough to the rule. And then when I make up that rule, I now have to apply the facts to my rule. I think what a lot of people do is they'll make up a rule. They knew the rule, but they made it up and they knew what facts they needed. And then they applied the facts to the actual rule. But they didn't write the actual rule down.
They know it's making up the rule. We hear this all the time. Make up the rule, make up the rule. What does that actually mean? Because I spoke to somebody who came back and he was like, yo, I made up the rule. They, like I said, and I still failed. What's going on? I like, for some reason, it sounds like you just did a whole lot of math. It don't sound like you actually did it the right way. Right. When people say make up the rule, break it down what that actually means so people don't get tricked.
Don't let nobody confuse you. It's not about pulling no rule out the side of your neck.
Right.
It's not.
It don't make no sense.
You got to know something about the rule in order to make up the rule. For instance, the rule against hearsay, out of court statement, offer to prove the truth of the matter asserted. You know what it is. Like, I don't need to necessarily say that rule. And I might say hearsay is a statement made outside of the court being offered for its truth, right? That may not be the verbatim rule, but if I'm making it up, I'm coming up with verbs and adjectives and terms that are close enough to the rule. And then when I make up that rule, I now have to apply the facts to my rule. I think what a lot of people do is they'll make up a rule. They knew the rule, but they made it up and they knew what facts they needed. And then they applied the facts to the actual rule. But they didn't write the actual rule down. They
know it's somewhere in there. But what they put down isn't.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But now you're applying facts to the real rule, but this essay is incomplete.
Right.
Because these facts don't match the rule you made up.
Which is what actually matters. Does it flow? Like, does it match the IRAC method? The person who's reading, are they able to see the rule and see it seamlessly applied to the actual the facts applied to the rule?
Right. That make up the rule really is when, like, you're down to the wire. You maybe it's like a con law question or a civ pro question. You really can't think of the rule on joinder, but you're like, this fact here. If I want the facts to play out where it's this conclusion, the rule has to be this. And then you make up that rule, you apply those facts to that rule, and then you conclude based off the conclusion you thought you were going to get. That's at least showing the grader you know how to do IRAC. Right? You have your issue statement, you have your rule, you have your analysis to your rule with the facts, and then you conclude it. A lot of times people will just make up the rule, then there's no conclusion. Because you really didn't know the rule. You made it up, but you didn't know how to conclude.
You didn't choose, you don't know which way to fall.
Right. That's what people practice making up the rule. People will try to shy away from the subjects. I just hope it won't be on there. During those last few weeks of studying, do the subjects you don't really know and make up the rule. Practice making up the rule.
For all my